Med school is considered as atrociously hard. If it's not hard, then you're doing something wrong. And that's because there is a prestige associated with it being hard. What they say is that the harder the terrain that you walk on, the more respect you get. And what ends up happening is that medical students end up becoming unhappy with their lives. The workload, the anxiety, the stress, the exams, the pressure, it all makes medical school seem more like a burden than a pleasure. Like everyone else, I was also going through the exact same feelings until these three things changed my perspective completely. What's cookin, sapiens? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Arham and I'm a final year medical student studying in Norway. The very first thing that made me happier in medical school is the ability to free myself from these ropes of acing every single exam. I freed myself from these constraints by accepting failure. By accepting that failure is a part of life, it's a part of medical school, and every medical student might go through failure, which is completely fine. And I have a complete video on how I failed the easiest exam in medical school, and here will be the link to that video if you want to check it out. But before failing this one exam, I was literally living a robotic life in medical school. I would study every single day till like 6 or 7 p.m. and then come home from the library and then take the evening off, and then also I would chill on the weekend. So Monday to Friday I basically had the same exact routine: school from 8 in the morning till 6 p.m. and then hit the gym, come back home, eat, sleep, repeat. The reason why this very problem of running away from failure and not accepting failure is very prevalent amongst medical students in special specifically than other students, because medical students are used to getting top results from a very young age. They are used to being the best in class from high school, from before high school as well, and just the idea or the thought of not being the best or not standing out, not getting the top grades is just completely unacceptable to them, because they haven't really seen that kind of failure ever before in their lives. I'm not saying there's a problem with aiming high. I'm saying there's a problem with running away from failure deliberately. Failing that easiest and the only exam in my entire life, I really opened up my eyes for failure and realized that it's not that bad at all. That one failure taught me more than success ever will. Had it not been for that one failure, I would not have started my social media career or my journey, which has literally turned my life completely around. By realizing that failure does not necessarily have to mean something negative, I freed myself from all the stress, anxiety, overburdening, studying 24/7 that medical school is known for, and I automatically became much happier. The second thing that made me happy in medical school is dissociating myself from the identity of being a medical student. Being a doctor or being a medical student, that very identity is a source of pride for many people, and rightly so, because we have really worked and toiled hard to achieve that. Nothing wrong with it. But the problem arises when it becomes a major chunk of our lives. The reason why we like to introduce ourselves as I am a medical student instead of saying that I study medicine is because there is an inherent underlying source of pride and source of identity connected with being a medical student or being an MBBS student. The thing is that such minor changes actually reap huge results, because by saying these things, you are training your brain to dissociate yourself from the very fact that you are a medical student, because you are actually much more than that. You're not just a medical student, you are Arham, you are whatever you are, right? And you have a whole dimension to your lives, to your personalities than just university and MBBS. If you speak to other doctors which are like above 50 or above 60, what most of them actually say is that medicine is not just a work, it's not just your job, but it's actually a way of living. It is your lifestyle. And I completely disagree with that, because my life is a lot more than just being a doctor. Being a doctor or being a medical student is just my line of work, it's just my job and nothing more than that. I am a lot more than just that. I could be a husband, I could be a son, I could be a father, I could be a football player on the side. As my hobby, I could be a hobby painter. There is just so much more, many more dimensions to my personality than just my line of work. And then comes the question, how exactly do we dissociate ourselves from this identity crisis? And the place where I found all these answers was actually where, by expanding my skills portfolio, by learning so many other skills in life, by learning to play the guitar, by learning to like maybe try and sing a little bit, maybe by making these videos, maybe by learning to paint, learning to draw, learning public speaking. There is just so much more. By becoming a writer, you know, by expanding and learning and focusing on other skills in life, you realize that being a doctor is not my only skill. It's not the only thing that I have to rely on. I can do a lot more stuff. I can achieve a lot more stuff than just medicine and treating patients and, you know, writing prescriptions. And the third thing that made me happier in medical school is realizing that I have to enjoy my life. I don't have to wait for med school to finish and become a doctor before I can finally start enjoying my life. So I believe that if you really have the means, then by all means, travel. By traveling, you gain that sort of perspective which you have been lacking, which med school will never give you. So that what happened with me in my case is that I ended up taking a gap semester after my 5th year. I took 6 months off just for the sake of traveling. Where I traveled, I went to backpacking across Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Turkey, Singapore, Malaysia. I went to Canada, US. I went to a lot of these different places, and that just opened up my mind so freaking much. By traveling solo, I just learned so much about myself, about other people, about other cultures, other traditions, other countries that medical school or university in general will never ever be able to teach me. Being able to survive by my own in a completely different stranger country, that's the kind of skill that you will never be able to learn during these 5 or 6 years of MBBS. And I also realized that you become a lot better person. You become better at getting to know yourself and what your inner thoughts are, who you really are as a person. And these things just help you so much. So I call that, what I learned in these 6 months, the school of life. You know, what I study is the school of medicine, but this was the school of life. That's a wrap for today, Sapiens. Subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.